Alright, here's my crazy setup for the night. Canon 5D Mark IV with a 50mm f1.2 lens. It's going to be sitting about f1.4. That way it matches the Sionyx. Canon 70D, which is full spectrum modified with an f2.8 lens on it. It's going to be wider than the others. I don't have anything that's a lower aperture that's normal-ish. So, oh well. Sionyx Aurora Sport, brand new, just got it today. Haven't used it other than to turn it on and update it. Haven't recorded anything on it, nothing. And then an analog PVS 18 with a Gen 3 auto-gated tube in it. This works fantastic on my head. So I'm going to mount my camera behind, or my phone behind it. It's going to sit right in there, just real nice. So the whole goal is to see how this tiny $400 camera will stack up to a 70D, which is full spectrum modified. Now, to be fair, that is going to cost about $800 to $900. That costs $4. That's well over $2,000. So I'm more wondering what these two are going to look like, just because, but we'll find out here in a little while. It is very close to being dark enough to go outside, and really dark, so we'll find out. Alright, so it's about 5:30 in the morning. Moon's up. It's about a little over a half a moon. I tried this test earlier in the night before I went to bed, before the moon came up, and the 5D couldn't see anything. The 70D couldn't see anything. The Sionyx did work relatively well even without a moon. Here's a clip of that now. I mean, it's better than the other two were. The PVS 18, of course, worked great. It's what it does. Now, with the moon out, I can see that the 70D still can't really see anything. The 5D can see okay. Right now it's running at 20,000 ISO. The Sionyx actually can see really well. A little better than I thought, especially compared to the other review videos I've seen out there. And of course the PVS 18 works great. I actually have an adjustable aperture on the front of that, and it's partially closed just because it was so bright. The camera was kind of seeing things weird. Alright, so when you start actually panning around, you can see how little the Canon 5D can actually see. It can see at 20,000 ISO about the same that I can see. That's pretty much real for me. Now we're going to go ahead and bump that up all the way just because we can. Now this is 102,000 ISO and f1.2. Now that is about the same as the Sionyx can see. Now it is a little noisier. Now, let's see if we can see anything like the Milky Way now that the moon is out. Doesn't look like it, because it should be right there. That's okay. Guess that's just the way it works. Now, one last thing, I'm going to go ahead and turn on an IR illuminator and shine it at the tree and see how that affects each one. It shouldn't do anything to the 5D, but it should affect the other three. Now, this is not a solid, full-size illuminator. This is a handheld flashlight that happens to be 840 nanometers. So, yep, the Sionyx sees that quite well. It doesn't do anything except brighten it up slightly and change it to blue. Night vision sees it nice and bright. Canon 5D sees nothing. And the 70D sees it, just not as well as I wanted it to. Definitely sees that though. Alright, now just for fun, I am going to take the 50mm 1.2 glass off the 5D and put it on the 70D. That way we can get down to 1.4 to match the Sionyx and see how much of a difference that makes. But based on the rest of this, I really don't think it's going to make a huge difference. So, oh, here's a car. Anyway, funny enough, the 70D can now see, which is kind of what I expected, but I thought it would be so much better than it is. I mean, that is still not picking up the light the way I thought it would. I mean, it can now if I'm focusing the flashlight, but the Sionyx is so much better. The Sionyx is also so out of focus. I'm sorry. I forgot that earlier I was focusing it to infinity to try to see if I could see the sky. I'll show you a clip of that real quick. The funnier part about this is it kind of messed up the 70D and the 5D, because the 70D can kind of see, but it's not great. And now the 5D pretty much can't. Alright. I mean, the 5D is back to seeing almost less than I can see now. Interesting. Huh. Alright then. Well, I do have to say, for a $400 camera, even watching the reviews and stuff for the Sionyx, I was not expecting much. I thought it would just kind of be a gimmick. I am thoroughly impressed with that camera. I just am. I don't know how they managed to put such a small sensor in that camera and make it come out looking that bright without a ton of noise. I mean, it's noisy, sure, but that's to be expected. I don't know. Honestly, I thought that the 70D, because I've done this test a little bit between the 5D and the 70D before I got the Sionyx. And the 70D held up okay. I mean, it didn't do as well as a full frame 5D at 120,000 ISO, but it's at 102,000 ISO right now
at f2.8, and I probably look like a shadow. While for the Sionyx, I can imagine that I'm very easy to distinguish. So I don't know. I don't know what to say to that. Sionyx, you've done a really good job with this. I really did not expect it to be as good as it is. I just didn't. So I figured I was going to buy this. I was going to do my little review, and I was going to be like, oh yeah, I mean, it does pretty good, but it doesn't keep up to a $2,000+ camera. And then I was going to sell it. I don't think I'm going to sell it anymore. I think I'm just going to keep it. So anyway, I'm cold. I got to go to work. So if you like this video, hey, let me know. Leave me a comment, thumbs up, whatever. If you want to see me do other things with the Sionyx or any other weird night video stuff, let me know. I think I'm going to have to go out and put the Sionyx on my gimbal like I did with the 5D last week and go walk around and see what it can do, how good it can be on a stabilized video gimbal, and kind of see what that comes out looking like. So that video will probably be coming. It just takes me a little time is all. So you guys have a good one.